a few words filled with unconditional wisdom from Rajogini Brahma Kumari Sister Usha.
Good morning and a very good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be with you all here and share some of the insights that we have on this subject of stress management. Brothers and sisters, greetings of peace from the Brahma Kumaris. Life in the present time, I would say, is like a sea-going adventure. Just like Christopher Columbus, when he started a journey into the unknown, he had no definite maps with him. But he set out on a journey. And he was not aware of the type of journey he was undertaking. He was not aware about the storms and hurricanes that he might have to face and overcome. He was not aware of the sea creatures, the sharks and the whales. He was not even aware of the silently moving undercurrents. The only thing he had with him was a compass that gave him a constant direction and told him in which direction he's heading for. And with the help of this compass, he was successful to a certain extent. Life in the present time is also such. We are also living in an age of uncertainty, and we are also moving ahead to chart some new territories, but we have no definite maps for the future times, living in this age of uncertainty. We are not aware of the types of storms and hurricanes that we might have to face and go through, and hardly we are prepared for those storms and hurricanes. We are not aware of the types of creatures that may be after us in the future times, the sharks and the whales. And we are not even aware of the silently moving undercurrents within this organization, maybe. And the worst part is, we do not even have a compass that can tell us whether we are moving in the right direction or not. So, we are totally at the mercy of, yes? What would you say? We are totally at the mercy of anyone? Huh? We are totally at the mercy of time, circumstances, subconsciousness. Anyone else? In the present time, we are totally at the mercy of crisis. In this age, we are more of crisis driven than a vision driven. A problem may come from this side, we change our direction. Another problem comes, circumstances come, we change our direction. And this is how our life is going on. And in this present time, I would say, there are three key propositions. I go there. Vijay there. There are three key propositions. Slide change. The first is, there is no turning back. Things are not going to go back to those stable patterns of the past. As we can see, a world characterized by so many factors. Global competition, and everyone wants to be successful in this competitive world. And for that, what do we need? In order to be successful in this competitive world, what do we need? I'll share a story. Once there were two people walking through a jungle. One was an Indian and another one was an American. As they were walking through the jungle, suddenly they heard a roar of a lion. So the Indian took out his jungle boots and put on his running shoes. Seeing this, the American asked with great astonishment, "What do you think of yourself? By putting on these running shoes, are you going to run faster than the lion?" So the Indian said, "I don't think so, but I can run faster than you." The lion would always catch the one who is left behind. So in this competitive world, what do we need to be successful? Yes? What do we need to be successful? A great presence of mind. A great presence of mind. In this story, Americans may have the best technology shoes, running shoes, but he thought, what's the use of running shoes in the jungle? And so An Indian brought ordinary shoes because he had this presence of mind. If we need to run, let me take my shoes. So with ordinary running shoes also, he was successful. Many a times we have so much efficiency, talents, skills, everything, but we hardly use them at the right time. And so some people with ordinary things also, they become successful. Revolutionary new technologies are coming in such a way, disruptive social transitions, uncertainty, increasing complexity, accelerating change, and so many other things that are coming up. So there is no turning back. The second key proposition is that we must find some new bearings. And it is seen that the people who will succeed will have a very highly developed sense of where they are headed to and what they stand for. As all reference points are just going to fall away, and there is a need to find new bearings to steer through the turbulence. So, where are we headed to? And what do we stand for? This is what we have to be very clear of. Because in these changing times, if I'm not clear about the purpose of my life, if I do not have those values, then although I may have a very high vision, but it is difficult for me to achieve that vision because the driving force purpose is not there, and that standing for the values are not there. So, the third key proposition is we must find different skills in the present times. And it is seen that the new and different capabilities but these are self-managing skills like intuition, discerning, flexibility. And nobody can teach us how to be flexible. Nobody can teach us how to develop a clear focus, how to tolerate, how to develop that calmness. This all has to be tapped from within and brought out in the present times. And therefore the aim of this session is, the first thing that we have to understand, to learn how to have more control over your own thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Because this plays a major role in our life. Together with that, we have to become a better leader through better self-understanding and practical application of the spiritual wisdom and its principles, so that we are able to take up more responsibility of our own life and stop blaming others or circumstances. Because the person who starts blaming others, they keep on complaining, blaming, and that is when they give the total control of their life in the hands of others. Very beautifully somebody said, the moment I point out that this person is responsible for creating all the disturbance, this person is responsible, or this situation is responsible, means I give the locus of control of my thoughts, my feelings, and my behavior in the hands of that person or that situation. that are to come in the future times. We get prepared ourselves from within. We empower ourselves from within. When we talk about stress, what is stress? Stress, as rightly said, it's the pressure upon my inner resilience power to cope up with that pressure. The challenges are so great, and the inner strength to cope up with the challenges is not enough. That is when we experience stress in our life. Because human beings is in the center, and he is constantly connected with all the things, is pressurized from all the four corners. One pressure is from the past, when we are reminded of some unresolved situations, the memories, they just come up, pop up. Another pressure is from the future. Living in this age of uncertainty, there is constant fear of what will happen. So that also creates a pressure. The third and fourth pressure is from the present time. One is known as internal pressure, and the other is known as external pressure. External pressure is not within my controls. That which is coming out from the outside, like government policies, the financial conditions, where I have no control, but they are connected with my life. And the fourth pressure is internal pressure, and the internal pressure is of my own negative thoughts. Due to the present time and all these pressures accumulating, many a times people have this tendency to generate negative thoughts more. And it is said, you are what you think. So when negative thoughts, which is within my control, but I lose control over it, it is creating an internal pressure constantly. That is creating all the stress here. And to cope up with that pressure, sometimes we find that there is no inner ability. So we are not able to handle ourselves. So, in order to handle, I'll just show you this, how it works. We have very powerful memory. And all the information coming from outside goes in, registers in the memory. On the basis of that memory, our thoughts are created. That forms the state of mind, which creates my attitude, it develops my perception, and takes charges of my behavior. I'll give you an instance. Once I was walking by the side of the road, and suddenly I saw that there was an old man who was also walking very peacefully by the side of the road. And suddenly from one of the lanes, a dog comes running out, bites that man, and he falls down. People gather there. Someone tied the dog so that he doesn't bite anyone else, called up for a rickshaw, and took that man to the hospital. Now this whole scene, I visualized, it got registered in my memory. And now, I have thoughts. That old man was walking very peacefully. He did not even harm any dog or anyone. How come the dog just came out running and bit him? I repeat this whole scene when I go home to my family members. some time, I'm again going from another street to the market. Someone calls me from behind. I turn back, look back, and I find a dog following me. What happens? From the memory, those thoughts emerge, and my state of mind has fear. Somehow, I managed to get rid of that dog, and finally, in that fearful state, I am home. Before, there have been many times when dog had followed me. I was not even aware. But after that incident, every time I see a dog, my attitude changes, my perception is changed, and my behavior is also changed. Now, this does not just happen with dogs. This is what happens with human beings as well. I'm very peacefully trying to work out on a project in my office with full concentration. An old friend of mine comes in my office. Hello, how are you? How are things going on? Etc., etc. And he comes and takes his seat. After some time, chatting, he asked me a question. Do you know Mr. X? So I says, yeah, very well. He's a very nice man. So my friend says, this is what I also thought about him. But, and then the story starts. This is what I thought about him, and after I took his help, I found that his intentions were very mean, very selfish, etc., etc., and this is what he did with me. After sharing this story, my friend leaves. Now, after registering that information in the memory, do you think I can concentrate my mind on and focus my mind on the project that I was doing on? No, I cannot focus. And I think, really, can Mr. X be like this? And then I try to pull out all those things from my memory. Whenever somebody else had also shared something similar with me, and then I realized, yes, I never thought about this. Now my state of mind is suspicious about Mr. X. After some time, half an hour passes by, and Mr. X comes in, coincidentally. Now with this fresh information registered in the memory, and the thoughts that I was having about him, my state of mind is suspicious. My attitude towards him would be different. He says, he shares some few things here and there, and then he says, do you have anything that we can work together on? And I would say, well, at present there is nothing so. My perception has changed, my behavior has changed, everything has changed. One negative input that goes inside, registered, changes my entire system. One positive input that goes in changes the entire system. What do you think? Which are the maximum information that you receive throughout the day, positive or negative? Which are the maximum? So what is the system that is being created inside? In today's world, maximum information that we received and which unknowingly gets registered in our memory is negative. So naturally the output, if the input is negative, the output will be negative also. More inputs about stress, what would be the output? Stress, experience. So somebody has rightly mentioned stress. What is stress? There is an event, reaction, cycle that is going on, like anything that comes up, any event, any problem, demands a response from the individual. And when it demands a response, the response would come out through the behavior. So that response from inside influences the behavior. And when it comes out through the behavior, that behavior feeds into the problem. So what would happen? The problem would get complicated or resolved. What do you think? Any event, any problem, any situation demands a response. And if the response is negative, that influences the behavior. The behavior is negative. That negative behavior feeds into the problem, making the problem more complicated, more stressful. And this is how, when it goes on in a cyclic pattern, what happens? What happens? It is said, changing molehills into mountains. The more negative reaction changes molehills into mountains. But if at that moment we understand this cycle, any problem that has come up is demanding a response from me, and if I just get calm, think practically, and respond in a positive manner, that positive response influences my behavior, and from the behavior there is a positive response coming out which feeds into the problem. What will happen to the problem? Will it get complicated or resolve? It resolves. So turning mountains into molehills or turning molehills into mountains, it is in our hands. How we respond, it all depends upon that. If I am in a stressful state, definitely my response would be negative, more negative, and that is how I worsen the whole situation. I worsen the whole problem. And then I have to put all my energy, resources in resolving those problems. So the stress level increases day by day. Therefore, spirituality, meditation helps us to calm down, focus, and gradually when I generate positive thoughts inside, I am empowering myself from within. And this is how we can manage from time to time our stress that is coming up. Instead of complaining, blaming situations, people, that they are responsible for creating all this mess in my life, I am able to handle my life, I am able to handle the situations in a more effective way. With this, I think the time is up. So I'll just try to wind up here. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you very much. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, sister, for such a beautiful narration and showing us a path that will lead to a better life. Now it's time to hear Rajyogini Brahma Kumari Sister Leena on her perception towards life. It's a request to you, ma'am. Please wrap up within 5 minutes as we are heading towards the inaugural session. Thank you.
ओम शांति। उपस्थित सभी भाई बहनें बहुत प्यार से बोलें ओम शांति। बहुत सुंदर टॉपिक आज का रखा है। लेट अस नो लाइफ बेटर। कहने को बहुत कुछ है, लेकिन फिर भी थोड़ा सा कुछ बोलना है 5 मिनट में। आज उषा दीदी जी का क्लास था किट ऑडिटोरियम में। उन्होंने एक बहुत अच्छी बात बताई। भगवत गीता के ऊपर क्लास था, तो एक्चुअली कर्म हमारे जीवन का बीज है। कर्म जीवन का बीज है और उसका फल जो है वो संस्कार है, जो बहुत सूक्ष्म रूप से हमारे अंदर भरता जाता है। और संस्कार जो है वो हमारे साथ हमेशा काम करते हैं। कैसे? उन्होंने बहुत सुंदर एग्जाम्पल दिया कि हमारे संस्कार हमारे चारों ओर एक ऑरा बनाते हैं और वो ऑरा सिचुएशन को रिफ्लेक्ट करता है। कई बार हमने देखा है बातें बहुत बड़ी बड़ी होती, प्रॉब्लम बहुत बड़ा होता, लेकिन वो बातें जब हमारे पास आती हैं तो छोटी हो जाती हैं। और कई बार बातें बहुत छोटी होती है लेकिन हमारा ऑरा ऐसा होता है कि बातें बहुत बढ़ जाती हैं। नेगेटिव ऑरा अगर हमारे पास है तो बातों को एग्जीक्यूट करता है, हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट कर देता है। और अगर हमारा ऑरा पॉजिटिव है तो जो भी बातें उसमें आई वो पॉजिटिव बन जाती हैं। वो लोग जो हमारे कांटेक्ट में आते हैं भले वो कैसे हो, लेकिन हमारा पॉजिटिव ऑरा उन्हें पॉजिटिव बना देता है। तो इसलिए आज का जो सेशन वहाँ चला उसमें दीदी ने सभी को यही इंस्पायर किया कि हम सभी को अपना ऑरा पॉजिटिव बनाना चाहिए ताकि लाइफ को हम बहुत अच्छी तरह से जी सकें। पॉजिटिव ऑरा का शुरुआत पॉजिटिव थॉट से होता है, जो मॉडल उन्होंने अभी बताया। कोई भी चीज़ हमारा परसेप्शन हमारे थॉट से क्रिएट होता है और थॉट जो क्रिएट होता है वो मेमोरीज से क्रिएट होता है। उस पर भी थॉट के भी 3 सटल और फॉर्म्स हैं जिससे वो हमारे जीवन में आता है। बार बार हमें किसी प्रकार का थॉट आता है तो हमें क्या करना है, लाइफ को अगर बेटर बनाना है तो हमें अपने थॉट्स को अच्छा बनाना है। और बिल्कुल सटल लेवल पे अगर थॉट को अच्छा बनाना है तो कहीं ना कहीं हमें स्पिरिचुअलिटी की ज़रूरत है। स्पिरिचुअलिटी विद्या है, शिक्षा नहीं। बहुत सुंदर दीदी ने आज बताया कि एक होता है लिटरेट होना और दूसरा है एजुकेटेड होना। विद्या ददाति विनय। अगर हमारे पास विद्या है तो हमारे पास विनय होगा, लेकिन अगर हम ज़्यादा लिटरेट हुए जा रहे हैं, अभिमान बढ़ रहा है, अहंकार बढ़ रहा है, तो वो विद्या नहीं है, वो लिटरेसी है। वो क्या कहें, साक्षरता होना है। हमने अक्षरों का ज्ञान लिया, विद्या का ज्ञान नहीं लिया। वैसे ही जीवन को अच्छा बनाने के लिए 2 कॉन्सेप्ट हैं जो अपने आप में एक पूरा स्कूल ऑफ थॉट है, लेकिन शॉर्ट में मैं इतना बताना चाहूँगी। एक है स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग, एक है स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग, लेकिन दूसरा है क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ। आज का मनुष्य, आज का एजुकेशन सिस्टम, आज का हाई रेंज हाई क्लास सोसाइटी स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग पे बहुत ज़्यादा ध्यान दे रहा है। हमारा IQ कॉन्सेप्ट, हमारा EQ कॉन्सेप्ट, इंटेलेक्चुअल क्या कहते हैं, IQ इंटेलेक्चुअल क्वेश्चंट और EQ इमोशनल क्वेश्चंट कहीं ना कहीं हमारे स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग को बढ़ा रहा है। लेकिन आज एजुकेटर्स ने ये सोच लिया है कि ये जो स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग है ये हमारी वास्तविक ज़रूरत नहीं है। जिस चीज़ की हमें ज़रूरत है वो है क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ को अच्छा बनाना है। तो अगर क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ को अच्छा बनाना है तो एक कॉन्सेप्ट जो नया डेवलप हो रहा है, जिसे सबके पास पहुंचाना है, वो है SQ, स्पिरिचुअल क्वेश्चन। अगर हम स्पिरिचुअल हैं, स्पिरिचुअलिटी को ठीक से अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं, लाइफ में उसे इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं हमारा क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ बहुत अच्छा होगा। क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ में क्या आता है, आज 7 चीज़ें दीदी ने वहाँ बताई थी। वो 7 चीज़ें हैं ज्ञान, ज्ञान का उदय होगा। दूसरा पवित्रता, प्योरिटी, और जिसको कहते हैं क्लैरिटी ऑफ लाइफ। प्योरिटी जब अंदर से होगा तो सब चीज़ें बड़ी क्लियर होगी, हमें लाइफ का हर कॉन्सेप्ट बड़ा क्लियर दिखाई देगा। थर्ड बताया सुख, हैप्पीनेस, प्रेम, लव। फोर्थ था पीस, फिफ्थ था हैप्पीनेस, और 6th था ब्लिस, और 7th था पावर। तो ये सारी चीज़ें मेरी आत्मा की इंग्रेडिएंट है, वो हमारे क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ को बढ़ाता है और हमें कंप्लीट बनाता है। जैसी ज़िंदगी हम चाहते हैं वो हमें बना के देता है। तो अगर हम अपना क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ को अच्छा बनाना चाहते हैं, समय होता जा रहा है उसके लिए, कहीं ना कहीं हमें ठहरने की ज़रूरत है, अपने आप से बात करने की ज़रूरत है। थोड़ा वी नीड टू गो विद इन, कहीं ना कहीं अंतर यात्रा करने की ज़रूरत है, जहाँ से हम अपनी क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ को बढ़ा सकेंगे। आप सबने हमें इनवाइट किया, बहुत प्यार से सुना, समय से पहले मतलब जैसा भी, और लेकिन कल ही हमने बताया था कि हमको आने में शायद थोड़ी सी देरी होगी, लेकिन आप सबसे मिल करके बात करके हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा। थैंक यू अगेन फॉर इनवाइटिंग अस। ओम शांति, ओम शांति।
Very warm good evening, good morning to all. We are running late. We have to start our second inaugural session. I once again welcome you all to the second day of the event of 3 days seminar on cost excellence, a sustainable business strategy. On the dais, Sister Rajajogi Brahma Kumari, Sister Usha, Senior Rajajogi Teacher, Mount Abu, Rajasthan. Rajajogi Brahma Kumari, Sister Lina, Director Brahma Kumari, Bhubaneswar Zone. CMA Uttam Kumar Naik, Vice Chairman of ICAI ARC. Of the dais, respected Honorable President of the Institute, CMA Raju Iyer Sir, respected past Presidents, respected Central Council members, Regional Council members, past Chairman of Chapter and EIRC, Galaxy of CMA Intellectuals, Print Press and Printing Media, and ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to extend the formal vote of thanks. Thank you, Sister, for mindfulness and motivational spiritual session. We feel honored to have Sister Usha, as she had another program in Odisha, and we are fortunate to listen her. Thank you, Sister Usha, for sparing some of your valuable time with us and guided our participants in the early morning session relating to proposition and management. I also like to extend my sincere thanks to Sister Lina for guided and her motivational speech. And I also extend CMA Uttam Naik, Regional Council Member and Vice Chairman of AIRC, for his continued support. I also extend my sincere thanks to all the participants for their active participation. Thank you.
As a token of our gratitude, I would request CMA Uttam Kumar Naik sir to offer a memento to Rajyogini Brahma Kumari Sister Lina as a token of our gratitude and reverence. I request CMA Shaktidhar Singh sir to offer a memento to Rajyogini Brahma Kumari Sister Usha as a token of our gratitude. We have come to the end of the motivational session. Stay tuned with us. We'll be starting with the inaugural session in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Since guests for the inaugural session are still arriving, we will directly start with the CFO's meet and thereafter we shall proceed with the inaugural session.